Then one for my project, which is domestic violence sanctuary. To start off, the situation currently regarding domestic violence in the country, the initiatives that are provided mainly focus on the people that are in urban areas. So that leaves the demographic in the rural areas without any solution. So my plan was to ideally to create a solution for these people that are in these areas. So next I'll talk about the country. Uganda is what's in sub-Saharan country, and generally the climate is tropical, which means we get 2 seasons, wet and dry, and the temperatures vary from about 50 degrees all the way to 30 degrees when it's the hottest. The other thing is the main land use is agriculture and livestock rearing. So this will come up into play because one of some of the decisions that I took for this particular project. The other thing is regarding the site itself, it's located in Bakindo. Bakindo is a sub-county of Wema district, which is in the western part of the country. And ideally, the site itself has a few challenges in the sense that it has no access to any services, so water, electricity, and waste management. So these are some of the challenges that are the biggest challenges that I tackle. And the strengths, though, it's located in a natural environment with a very, very expansive landscape and very beautiful landscape. So that was a very, very big part of which informed the orientation of a particular building and the way they designed and arranged. That is not mine. Anyway, yes. When I set out to start this design, I had a few principles in mind. So safety, because there's people fleeing dangerous situations. I wanted to create privacy, because they've not had this opportunity for themselves. The other thing was I wanted to give them a home when they stay, and also wanted to keep the project sustainable. So all those challenges for the safety. I mean, given that the site itself would have a perimeter fence, I decided not to use that type of rigid sort of obstruction for them to access the site. So instead, I implemented transitional spaces and buffer zones. And all the way from the access to the site, you see that we have different areas before you reach the actual compound itself. And these other functions, when you get to the compound, there is a more intricate arrangement of the functions to create that other separation. So away from the access to the site, all the way to the most intimate spaces of the compound, I have this sort of separation. And the functions were integrating that. So for the functions, I implemented skill-based functions, also health-based functions, and then also to connect them all, I created a spot here that would be the heart of the entire space, and that would be the space that brought everything together. So in order to access that space, I had to create 2 access points to limit access from the public. That's another sort of a transitional space where you have one access point here and another one here. But all those you have to go through the other public areas where you see the stuff, all the stuff will let you in. So there will not be just public access to anyone who come onto the site. In regards to the accommodation, I created this large volume, as you can see, and I wanted to use it as the biggest space so that you can know that this is the accommodation, but also in the accommodation collaboration, I wanted to use this space-in-space concept where I would split it into smaller units and have these private accommodations separated by public, semi-public areas. So in the event that the people staying there do not want to interact with the more public courtyard, they would have these small spaces to just gather and sit and, you know, interact. In the private bedrooms, I set them up with 2 people, so that two tenants in the units, and this choice was informed with. I do not wish for them to be alone during this time of separation, because they're going through a lot, and this will take a toll on them, and also I said pair them up, and that way you have this sort of pair system where you know that you have this friend or this person you're staying with that you might feel responsible for if they don't show up for a particular event or they don't show up for a particular activity during the day or later on. If they're not well, then they have this sort of support system around them. For the materials, I implemented brick, because that is one of the most locally sourced materials. Then I used timber framing and then metal sheet. So, in order to solve the same situation, because we do not need, we have relatively warm temperatures, but we do not need the ACs and all this type of solution. So I implemented a cavity brick wall, and I elevated the roof itself, the canopy, to create a space under it so you can have that cross ventilation when you look at it. All these buildings, I oriented them to the north, because this is where the hills are here. And when you look at the general area around it, like everything around it, so the hills are towards the north, and so I oriented them in that direction because I wanted them to have this connection to nature. Because they are struggling mentally and have all these challenges and issues, I wanted them to have this sort of relaxing feeling whenever they're in this compound. Was, for example, when you're in the city and you go away to camp, you always go to nature, right? So I sort of use that nature as an aphrodisiac for this particular solution. Now, in regards to sustainability, I wanted to make sure that this community would survive on its own without the need for aid and all those other things. So, first of all, I implemented solar panels as a source of electricity for lighting and charging devices. And then I moved on to rainwater collection because there is no water source on site or water access. I implemented a rainwater collection, which is water being collected in tanks. So the water is collected in the tanks and is used for almost every function, for cleaning, rainwater systems, and all stuff. I also implemented a small composter and gas digester for the waste, and I incorporated this because one, the waste has some control, but I also figured the waste could be used. So with compost and biogas, then later the waste from the biogas compost would be used as fertilizer for the farmland. The other functions I implemented on this I wish to have in this project were first of all, we have workshops to teach them skills. So, for example, the weaving of bees, basket type of, those will be made by them for them on site to have them to easily maintain some of the facilities. So other things like these as well. They could be made and they could be sold. They can be sold to the public. So those are some of the skills that were being taught in the workshop. the classrooms, they will be educated on the science or the triggers for this particular, for domestic violence, and to sensitize them about this so they can be careful, work on them so that when they leave, they're able to notice those things before they're caught up in that situation again. That then was to raise the level of education. Because in these particular rural areas, rural Uganda, education is not a big concern, it's not a big, there's little emphasis on this in my countries, in this particular area. So it would be very nice to educate them so that they will have to be dependent on the people that are in those relationships and marriages to be back in the situation that they're in the first place. Also have livestock rearing, so there's a space for the animals, for them to so they will have cows, and they will have goats and chicken. So the goats can have them for meat, the cows can have for milk, and the chicken for the eggs. And later the chickens also have the eggs. Yeah, but essentially all of this will work together. This solution will feed off each other and make sure that the place continuously thrives without the need for foreign aid or external aid. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Final questions? How long can stay there to reply?
So the plan is to have them for minimum 6 months or 4 years, and to help them transition and to work with these issues of the country. It's not permanent, so it's a transition space. So you come here, then they help you integrate back into society.
That's why they have this out.
Yes.
I don't think one more question because I really like this project as a whole. There was something good solutions and nice designs.
I think to really clear as the plan, really also the insight on the side, also the technological aspect. Still has. Of course. There is a sort of non-written rules in architecture.
Yes.
For me. I don't know if for my way, if in plan Martin, is this orthogonal or not? If not, a little bit orthogonal, or if you make the if you make an angle, real angle, and at the same time, here, if you want to turn the building, turn the building, not the approximate curvature. You make like there, this is for the future. Yes. I don't know. It's a sort of not literal rules. No,
I may have this rule, but this implementation is behind the border for me. So I wouldn't say that in this case, but I agree with you. I don't like the very small pieces. For me,
this was one of the challenges I experienced, but because I was following the terrain itself, it has those small bends and whatnot. So yeah, I also struggled with this particular issue. I was thinking to myself, if it's a turn, let it go away.
But of course, you are free. You don't have particularly relationship with some existence, or maybe you have a strong axis, a human axis that you need to. You are in the landscape.
Maybe we should agree on an angle degree.
More scientific. So on the side plan, you can see that it follows the terrain. What is the terrain?
The contours. Approximately 2 degrees means approximately 2 degrees.
Because I was stand at this point and at those points here, but I guess what I actually agree with.
I appreciate it too much.
We can.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
and all the international candidates, as today, they brought top projects from their home.
Yes.
And it came to a discussion among us if it's good or not to let you pick projects from your home country, because you're not expert of what's going on in your country. But I was of the opinion, and at the end maybe we agreed, that it makes sense to bring for the final work. Meanwhile, doing your studies in Hungary or wherever, if you're out of your country, you have to deal with the issues that are involved here. So this is just the final act of your studies. And on my side, I think it's more entertaining to look at those, because usually we don't deal with the climate issues and historical cultural issues like or technical as you have in different parts of the world. But I guess that architecture is global and international enough, so that we still claim that we can judge architectural design on its quality and content. So I think today's project just prove it. It's difficult to say something. So thanks. So it's cool.
All right, thank you very much.